All right, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Rob, you are late for new champ. I know. Riot released it before I even woke up this morning. Very rude. Very rude of Riot to do that. Quite rude. We're gonna do that now. We're gonna be looking at that literally right now. All right, so I'm on the Twitter page. I believe it's this. I believe this is the right here. This is the tweet confirming the new champion. So without further ado, let's take a look and see what the heck this is all about, shall we? Let's take a look. Sentinels of Light. Okay.
Scores to settle, crooks to kill. You know how it is.
Akshan. Shut up. So I don't know this guy yet. I don't know anything about him except that he's a Sentinel of Light, like Lucian and Senna. He's literally a new champion that's coming out in League at like the same time that he's coming out in this game. So I don't know anything about this guy's backstory or anything like that. But what I do know is that he's a 2-mana 2/2 with quick attack with a lot of text. Wow, that's a lot of text. All right, 2-mana 2/2 with quick attack. So he's basically Lucian. When I'm summoned or strike, okay, so Draven. So whenever Draven makes an axe, when I'm summoned or strike, summon a Warlord's Palace or advance it 1 round if it's already in play. Okay. And then level up. You have completed the countdown on Warlord's Palace. When I level up, summon a Warlord's Horde. Oh god. And he's Shuriman. Okay, so this is a Shurima card, which makes sense because he's summoning a landmark. Again, Rob, there's a video on League's YouTube that tells you about him. Well, I saw the thing that was like the story so far that they tweeted the other day, but I haven't actually seen like his lore. I just need to go find him on League Universe and like read his little bio or whatever. Then I'll get it. That's how I usually get to know the champ. That's how I usually get to know the champions. I go and read their bio, and then I read their little short story, and then I get who they are, you know. All right. So when he is summoned, he summons a landmark called a Warlord's Palace, and it has countdown. And then he levels up once it completes its countdown.
Slightly.
That's all we know. That's all I know.
Beware.
Oh, there it is. Warlord's Palace. 1 mana, but it doesn't matter because it's getting summoned. Countdown 8. Okay, countdown 8. That's a long countdown. Create a Relic of Power in hand. When you target allies, advance me 1. When you target allies, advance me 1. Oh, so that's not going to be very hard. Oh, I was thinking, okay, I was thinking we'd have to run this in like a Turbo Thralls deck. I was assuming this was like a Turbo Thralls style deck that we were going to have to run this in, where we just run all the countdown accelerators. But it says whenever you target allies, advance me 1. So this is like a self-target sort of deck. And that advances this faster. I don't know what a Relic of Power is.
Make these pieces
okay.
whole.
All right. Riven makes sense. Riven makes sense.
Submission or death for all who live. Everyone should have a
grappling hook. Everyone should have a grappling hook. Agreed. I agree, Akshan. Everyone should have a grappling hook. Hell yeah. All right. 3 mana slow speed grappling hook. An ally that has, and it's Shuriman, an ally that has been targeted this round strikes an enemy. Oh. You get to turn, yo. You guys know that? You guys know that little card that no one plays? Arel the Tracker. You guys know Arel the Tracker? This is kind of like that, but good. Stream in single combat. Literally, actually, that's very true. This is, sorry, it made me think of Arel the Tracker. But you guys are right. This is actually legitimate Shuriman removal that they have not gotten yet. This is actually a legitimate Shuriman removal card, which is not something that Shurima really has. Well, they have a couple, but they all suck. Now, this is still slow speed, so it's not insane or anything. It's a Shuriman slow speed single combat that, you know, doesn't involve the enemy striking us back. And it's got a requirement. It's an okay card. It's an okay card. Not bad at all.
Fixing the world one scoundrel at a time.
Hell yeah, dude. Is this guy just an action hero? His name is literally Action. His name is literally Action. He's just an action hero. That's hilarious. All right. Action. 2 mana 3/3 quick attack. He levels up. He levels up when the landmark finishes, right? When I'm summoned or strike, summon a Warlord's Horde or advance it 1 round if it's in play. Okay, he just keeps making them. And when he leveled up, he did something. When he leveled up, he like made something in our hand, I think.
What was there?
Or maybe, oh, it's Warlord's Palace and Warlord's Horde. I'm gonna have to read these. I'm gonna have to read these later. This is too much. This is too much happening all at once for me. We'll just
Is now up.
Okay, Relic of Power. 0 mana focus speed, pick 1. Predict, then draw 1. Summon a Sandstone Charger or grant all allies +1/+0. Pick 1. Predict, then draw 1. Summon a Sandstone Charger or grant allies +1/+0. This is a lot of stuff. Yeah, this is like Afelio style, a lot of crud. Alright, I think we're just mostly gonna watch this video and then look at all the cards later.
Yoink.
Yoink! Okay, alright. The Absolver. 2 mana burst speed. Give an ally +2/+1. If you have leveled a champion this game, create the Absolver's return. Of course. Which is this. Give an ally overwhelm and +2/+1. Okay, alright.
The world won't save itself, you know.
Ooh, look at that card back, by the way. Ooh.
This is justice. I thought we were leaving our dragons at home. Hug it out.
Hug it out? Okay, I like him. He said hug it out, and so now I like him. Okay, what does that do? Finders keepers.
Impeccable taste, my friend.
The Shadow Isles are just the beginning.
Talk is worthless. We are what we do.
What was he gonna play? What was he gonna... What spells was he gonna cast? They just cut it off? They just cut it off there? At Gamer Rob, Riven's Sentinel bio talks about her knowing something bad will happen to her. Oh boy. What's your theory? My guess is she was about to be vengeanced. Riven was about to be vengeance? Does Riven die? Oh god. Yo, I'm not ready for the lore. I'm not ready for all the lore stuff that happens with this Ruination event. We'll get to that later. We'll do that later. I'm not ready for that. Okay. So let's piece together these cards and see what the hell they actually do. So Akshan is a 2 mana 2/2 with quick attack. When he's summoned or strike for some reason, he creates a Warlord's Palace, which I guess means that if the Warlord's Palace or he advances it, which means that if your opponent removes Warlord's Palace with like a Scorched Earth or whatever, he'll make another one. And when he levels up when Warlord's Palace has finished its countdown, and you can also count it down by targeting your own units. So pairing him with Riven makes sense, right? Because Riven is going to be reforging, creating all these cards in your hand that you can target your own units with. Targeting your own units will speed this up. Makes sense. This naturally has countdown 8. It's accelerated A whenever you target something, right? With a spell, one of your own units. When you target allies, whenever you target your own allies, it advances 1. Or whenever Akshan strikes or is played, it also advances 1. So like, you know, you can pair this with Flurry of Fists for great value. What I'm saying is you can pair Akshan with Flurry of Fists for some cheeky acceleration. If that's the route you want to take with this. That actually does it's funny. Probably not the way to play this, but it is something you can do. And then when Warlord's Palace finishes, when it finishes its countdown, you get this, a Relic of Power, which is a 0 mana focus speed fleeting spell. And it says pick one, predict and draw 1, or summon a Sandstone Charger, or grant all allies +1/+0. You don't get to do all of them, it's just one. Predict and draw. Oh, you get to turn this into a time trick, Awaking Sands. Oh, focus speed. Whoa, a focus speed Waking Sands. Wait, that's actually pretty spooky. A 0 mana focus speed Waking Sands. That's not terrible, actually. That's not terrible. Or grant all allies +1/+0. Which, you know, there's no card that just does that. But you can imagine board states where that's the correct one to pick, right? Yeah, the fact that the Sandstone Charger actually comes out at focus speed. Waking Sands is slow, but summoning a Sandstone Charger at focus speed could actually be pretty spooky. This isn't burst, so it's not like you can like burst this out in response to an attack. You can only use it on offense, but still, not bad. And then we're only halfway. Yo, we're only halfway through what this guy does, by the way. That's only his level 1. All of this is just his level 1. Level 2. On his level 2, he says, when I'm summoned, level up or strike, summon a Warlord's Horde or advance it 1 round. So if this finishes, if this Warlord's Palace counts down and gets the Relic of Power while he's on the board, he instantly creates a Warlord's Horde, which is this, a similar landmark, also a 1 mana countdown 8. And it advances in the same way. When you target allies, advance me 1. And it says create a Sentinel's Horde in hand. And Sentinel's Horde is a 0 mana focus speed fleeting spell that says cast the Absolver's Resurrection, a Fount of Power, or a Shield of Sentinels. Well, what are those? Posture check. Aye, Captain. Akshan is a heist mission to steal the game. Okay, Absolver's Resurrection. What the hell is this? That's this. So Sentinel's Horde is either an Absolver's Resurrection, which is this. 0 mana focus speed, grant all enemies vulnerable, and create in hand a 0 cost copy of the strongest. What the hell? Oh, these are the 3. Okay, these are not cards you can actually put in your deck. They're only available through the Sentinel's Horde. Okay. The Absolver's Resurrection. Grant all enemies vulnerable and create in hand a 0 cost copy of the strongest ally that died this game, which could include your champions. Okay, that's a very strong card, obviously. Grant all enemies vulnerable and creating candidate a 0 cost copy. Sorry, I had to read that 4 times to understand what it did. All right. Or you could cast Fount of Power, which is a 0 mana focus speed spell that says draw 2, your cards cost 1 less this round. Okay, much easier to understand, also very strong. Or you can cast it as a Shield of the Sentinels, which is a 0 mana focus speed spell that says grant your champions everywhere spell shield and +2/+2. Wow. They're not that hard to get. Shapestone auto-include? Well, I mean, obviously you auto-include Shapestone in this deck. This deck is, like, built for Shapestone, obviously. This champion is just built for Shapestone to go well with him. Alright, and then his champion spell is Grappling Hook, which we saw before is an actual decent Shuriman removal, albeit a slow speed spell. An ally you've targeted this round strikes an enemy. So you can only use this on allies that you've targeted. This is not something you could just put in every Shuriman deck. I said this was good Shuriman removal. However, most Shurima decks only run like one spell that targets their own units, and it's Shapestone, right? I don't think you can put this in basically. This is basically just an Akshan card. Maybe a couple other decks can use this, but mostly this is just going to be in Akshan decks. Akshan decks, because most Shurimas, like most Shuriman decks, they run like a few Shapestone, maybe Renekton decks, maybe a couple Renekton decks. Overwhelm could actually maybe use this, right? Like Troll Chant, right? Troll Chant counts, and they run Shapestone. They sometimes run like Ruthless Predator. I could see an Overwhelm deck that could be built to take advantage of this card. Okay, I take that back. Okay, but it is slow. Again, it is slow. Still, they could do it. Grappling Hook is also insane for Renekton. Yeah, Renekton decks could probably take advantage of Grappling Hook. Okay, and then we've got another, and I guess this is the last card, right? Because these are the same card. The last card that was revealed today is the Absolver. 2 mana, burst speed spell, give an ally +2/+1. And then if you have leveled a champion this game, create the Absolver's Return, which is the same thing. It's another 2 mana burst speed spell, but it says give an ally 2/+1 and Overwhelm. Okay. So this is just a 2 mana burst speed, worse than Sharp Sight. If you haven't leveled the champion. If you have not leveled the champion, the Absolver is a 2 mana burst speed bad card. You know, it's not as good as Shapestone. It's not as good as Sharp Sight. It's definitely not as good as Shapestone. However, if you have leveled a champion, you get to cast it again, and this time whatever you target gets Overwhelmed. Now, obviously, this is meant to go with Akshan. I don't know about this one. the fact that it's only good after you've leveled something. Azarelia is going to abuse the hell out of the Absolver. Oh, you might be right. Azarelia is the deck in the game that most easily and consistently levels its champions, right? Or at least it was before they got nerfed. If they can easily, I don't know, this thing still costs 4. If you want the Overwhelm, you do still have to pay 4 mana. I don't know if Azarelia wants that. They might. Do we think Akshan wants this? I mean, sort of. The problem with this is that it doesn't actually progress his level up, because you can't really use it until after he's leveled up. So it could progress the second one, right? It will progress this one, right? It'll progress Warlord's Horde and you'll get your Sentinel's Horde faster, but it doesn't actually progress Akshan leveling to level 2 very fast. Oh, he doesn't even have to see it. Wait, Akshan doesn't even have to see the Warlord's Palette's finish. What the heck? See, why doesn't Zillion work like that? Zillion should work like this. It just happens. Like, he just levels up. Anyway, we're not talking about Zillion right now. We're talking about Akshan. Okay. You don't need to rush leveling Akshan. It only gives you a +1/+1. I mean, it gives you a +1/+1 and a Warlord's Horde. I mean, I imagine the whole point is just the faster you go, the faster you get this, right? The faster you get Sentinel's Horde, which is your pick of these 3 busted cards, which all cost 0. That being said, these cards don't exactly win you the game, right? Sentinel's Horde does not win you the game. It just helps. Because, like, Shield of the Sentinels, like, sure, grant your champions everywhere spell shield and +2/+2. That's good if you have champions on the board. Or you're, like, about to play them. But it's not like... It's not like you could just cast that and then, like, draw your champions later and then get the value out of it, right? This is only going to be good if you have champions. Fount of Power looks really strong, but only if you actually have enough cards to make it worthwhile, right? This card is weird because it says draw 2 and then your cards cost 1 less, which sort of rewards you for having a big hand, but also increases your hand size. And then the Absolver's Resurrection looks like the all-around strongest. This one just looks like really strong generally. Grant all enemies vulnerable, which could be very strong, depending on both board states, and create in hand a 0-cost copy of the strongest ally that died that game. And if you have a strong ally, that one to me seems the strongest. Absolver's Resurrection. Is it good when you have Karma though? What, you're gonna have a leveled up Karma in this deck? I don't believe you. Fount of Power is worse Glorious Evolution, changed my mind. Well, you see, this one is 0 mana and focus speed, and Glorious Evolution is 10 mana slow speed. So I really don't think they compare. I really think this is better in every way than Glorious Evolution because you can, you know, play it ever. If you play Akshan on turn 2, then the landmark is already down to about 11 on round 7. If you attacked with Akshan at least once, it's down to 10. Shurima has good ways to count down 10. I mean, we're planning on targeting a bunch, right? This should, I'm imagining that this counts down and Akshan levels up on like round 5 or 6. Has anyone thought about Ancient Hourglass? If you Ancient Hourglass Akshan, this progresses by 2. I like that. I wanna test out Akshan with Ancient Hourglass because it counts as a target, right? You targeted an ally, which advances this one, and then he gets summoned again next round, which advances this again. Among all the other things that you can use to target in Shurima, I don't know. I think we're gonna get this pretty quick. I don't think we're gonna have to wait until round 10 or anything like that. It's gonna be around like 7, 6, 5. Lee Sin has a new friend. I keep seeing people say that. I keep seeing people say that we're running this in Lee Sin. Why? Why does Lee Sin like this? I guess it's because we're giving him Overwhelm with the Absolver's Return. Is that it? 2 words, Ronby. Scorched Earth. That's alright. That's alright. He'll make more. That's alright, Bokrad. We can make more. Plus, what's very interesting, yo, you know what's really interesting about this? This is the only landmark in the game that you can finish the countdown in response. You can, if someone targets your Warlord's Palace with a Scorched Earth and you're at like 2, if this is countdown 2 and it gets targeted with a Scorched Earth, you just play double Shapestone and it counts down and then the Scorched Earth just fizzles. This is the only landmark in the game where you can do that. Overwhelm and 4 attack, even without any other spell. Late game Lee Sin with Absolver will be lethal. I see. I see. You're right. If you play the Absolver on a leveled Lee Sin, he gets +4, which means he goes to 9 and he gets Overwhelm. Yeah, yeah, and it gives him barrier. And nothing else you need. Okay, yeah, that's pretty spooky. I see. I see why you guys are saying that Lee Sin has a new friend. I hope that's not the only place that Akshan ends up. I hope Akshan ends up in more decks than just a Lee Sin deck, because I would hate to never play this guy because he's best friends with Lee Sin. That would really make me unhappy. I want to try him out. I don't play Lee Sin, but I would like to try him out. I think Akshan Revealed is gonna be good too. I wrote down all the possibilities, Rob. I will scroll and resend. You don't need to do that, Bogred. Wasn't this supposed to be a small expansion? I mean, it's still small. There's only 2 champions. Most expansions come with like 6. Or more. Okay, all right. I think I have a general idea. I think finally I have a general idea of what it is that Akshan does. All right, I think I get it. I think I get it. I think I'm on board. I think I understand. Now, how good is it gonna be? It doesn't look bad. How good is Akshan gonna be? He doesn't look bad. He does only have 2 attack. He's a 2-mana 2/2. And he's got quick attack, but you're gonna need to target him with stuff. You know, if you wanna attack with him, right? Because Warlord's Palace, when he strikes, you know, obviously if you can attack with Akshan and to get him to strike, great things happen for you. Right? Warlord's Palace starts counting down faster. However, he can't really attack unless he's got buffs, right? He's a 2/2. And there's a lot of 2/3s in this game. There are a lot of 2-mana 2/3s in this game. Which means that on round 2, if you play him on round 2, depending on what your deck you're going up against, you actually probably will be able to attack with him. Like Lurk does have sometimes they run the Aspiring Chronomancer, right? They have the 2/3, but most of Lurk's other early game cards just won't be able to block him, right? They all have 1 or 2 health. And there are a lot of decks like that right now, I think. I think there are an awful lot of decks right now running around that have like really low health units. So Akshan might actually be able to attack right now in the current meta, but when these cards come out, obviously there won't be, you know, the current meta will be a new meta. So there will be a lot of metas where you can't just attack with him unless you've buffed him. Ruthless Predator. Ruthless Predator looks like he'd go really well with him because you don't want to attack with Akshan and then just like Shapestone him. Although you can attack and then Shapestone him afterwards. So you can always sort of just attack with Akshan and then just like sit and wait. And if your opponent blocks, then you play Shapestone kind of thing. That's not bad. At Game Rob, he works pretty well with Shapestone because you can activate it on 2 with spell mana. Yeah. If you're going second, if you're not attacking on round 1 and you skip your round 1 and then play Akshan on round 2, and then attack with him with Shapestone in your pocket, Shapestone will work because you've summoned a landmark. And then he'll just be a 5/3 with quick attack on round 2. Yeah, you're running 3 Shapestones in this Akshan deck. That's what we're saying. This is a Shapestone champ. Yeah, it literally is. It literally is. It's like Shapestone the movie, the game. Akshan will get to attack pretty much every second round. Can't really block him at risk of Shapestone. That's kind of true. That's actually kind of true. People are gonna respect that, right? Because if you attack with Akshan on round 2 and you do have a 2/3, like imagine this from the opponent's shoes. If you're the opponent and you know your opponent played an Akshan and you're sitting there like, uh-oh, quick, play a 2/3. Haha, you can't attack, mine's bigger, right? If you attack with Akshan, I have a 2/3, your Akshan will die, and then they attack anyway, you're like, fuck. They're like, ah, damn it, they definitely have a Shapestone. But they might not. Do you block? If your opponent does that, if your opponent attacks with a 2/2 Akshan and they have 1 spell mana and you have a 2/3, do you block? Boober says I do. Johanu says I do. So at that point, the landmark is already down to about 7 countdowns needed for the Horde. It's really easy to get the Horde at round 7, in my opinion. Yeah. The Horde. Oh, the Horde. Oh, not the Palace, the Horde. I do block, get it out of his hand. All right. Yeah, and then if you do that, right? If that's the exact scenario, if you play Akshan and then attack with him and Shapestone him, you know, your opponent like blocks with the 2/3, then you play Shapestone, yada yada yada. Akshan kills that thing. Right then and there, the turn you played Akshan, Warlord's Palace is already at countdown 6. Round ends, countdown 5. This thing is gonna go fast. This thing is gonna go by fast. It is not gonna take long for Warlord's Palace to pop and Akshan to level up, and then he just gets a Warlord's Horde. Cool. This is so cool. This is such a cool champion. Wow. They did a great job with this guy. He's so cool. Holy crap, Talia? Yo, Talia? Akshan Talia? Start doubling this shit? That could be fun. The Overwhelm also works well with Tali. The Overwhelm does also work well with Tali. Ooh. We will need more landmarks. If we're running Talia, we're gonna need to be running more landmarks than this. Although if we're running, this could be finally the Talia Ancient Hourglass deck. This could be the Talia Hourglass deck that we were looking for, right? There's this cool interaction between Talia and Ancient Hourglass, where if you Ancient Hourglass something important, you can copy it with Talia and then get a bunch of, potentially a bunch of Talias out, and then attack with 3 Talias and fill the board up. Yo! You don't even need a landmark for that anymore. Right? If you do that, if you Hourglass Talia, and then play a Talia copying that Hourglass Talia, and then next round you open attack with those 3 Talias, even if you have no other landmarks. Now that Talia got buffed, even if you have 0 landmarks, you fill the board. You fill the board with her 9 skills, and your opponent can't respond with a fast speed spell. Hey Rob, I didn't get to see Akshan before work. How does he work? It's right here. I don't have time to go through it all. It's really complicated. You have to read Akshan and then Warlord's Palace and then Relic of Power and then Akshan level 2 and then Warlord's Horde and then Sentinel's Horde and then this and then this and then this, and then you'll understand what Akshan does. Like literally from this card here, from this card right here, Akshan, you have to read all the way until Shield of Sentinels just to figure out what Akshan does. Every one of these cards is created by him. And nothing else. I believe in you. Yo, Mike Kobo! 8 months, buddy. 8 months. Thank you. Thank you. Akshan makes me want to play Spider Aggro. So Akshan Victor because creation? Well, it's not that kind of create. No. He doesn't actually like, Victor levels up when you play created cards. And Akshan doesn't actually give you that many created cards in hand. He summons the Palace and the Horde automatically, so you don't play them. They're created, but you don't play them, so Victor doesn't care. So no, probably not. Too many cards, too many words. Me play fearsome unit, me go face. Also, you don't feel punished to Hourglass Akshan in combat? Because he counts down the landmark on summon. I know. That's why I actually want to play Ancient Hourglass in this deck. If you Hourglass Akshan, you advance this twice. Once for the Hourglass and once for summoning Akshan again. So like literally, this I think is the best case for putting Hourglass in a deck. Like, I've experimented with Hourglass in a lot of decks, and it's never terrible, right? Ancient Hourglass is a card that is never like awful, but it always ends up getting cut, right? It's never the best card in the deck. And so I always end up cutting it in favor of other stuff that actually like synergizes with my champions and advances my game plan, or cards that are better at denying my opponent, like Rite of Negation, you know, like it always ends up cut. I think this is the deck where finally I won't have to cut Ancient Hourglass from my deck. Finally! Finally I can keep it. The real question is, do you pair him with Ionia or Noxus? That's what everyone's saying. Everyone seems to agree that it's one of those two. I feel like there's lots of stuff this guy can go with. Why not Demacia? Because Demacia is stupid, that's why. Demacia is stupid, that's why. I think you overrate Hourglass in this deck. Akshan is quite a trash body. I mean, if your opponent is trying to remove him, it goes 1 for 1, right? If you're going up against a deck that actually wants to remove him with like a spell, if someone tries to Mystic Shot Akshan, you can just respond with Ancient Hourglass. That just, you know, it just it just feels good to do that. Just denying your opponent's Mystic Shot. What's cool is you can stack them too. Like, if someone Mystic Shots Akshan, you play Shapestone, and then Mystic Shot again, and then you play Hourglass. You've just denied your opponent 2 Mystic Shots. And Akshan will come in next round with the buff that you gave him this round. I don't know, that seems strong. That seems strong. Although that does only work if you're going up against like Ezreal decks, right? If you're going up against a deck that doesn't run that type of removal spell, then Ancient Hourglass might brick a little bit more. I don't know. I think Ancient Hourglass is a pretty flexible card. It's pretty cool. I think it'll work. I'm not giving up on it. I'm not giving up on Ancient Hourglass. I like the card. I think it's really neat and snazzy. I need it to have a home. This is what I think its home is. And it stacks the countdown. Yeah, and it stacks the countdown. Gems, Rob? Gems? Akshan Taric? Are you guys saying Akshan Taric? Ooh, Akshan Taric. That could make sense. That could make sense. Taric would enjoy +2/+2 in Spell Shield. Taric would like to be a 0-cost copy. You know, Taric would like to be your 0-cost card that you got again. Sure, I can definitely see Taric. You don't get the cheese bonus rallies though? Good, I hate that mechanic. Honestly, every time someone plays frickin' Aegis of Golden Aegis or whatever that card's called on Taric and gets the stupid double rally, I hate that. Akshan is an amazing release because he single-handedly creates so many potential new decks. You can pair him with almost anything, even with the sacrifice package. When you target allies, Wait a minute. Are you implying that Ravenous Butcher targets? Are you implying that Ravenous Butcher is a card that targets allies? Yes, I said Glimpse a while ago. Well, Glimpse obviously does. Well, Glimpse obviously targets an ally. Does Ravenous Butcher? Yes. MBG says yes. Hit button says Butcher doesn't target. All sacrificing targets. I mean, it would make sense that it does, right? It would be consistent with that it does. If it's just an instant effect, right? If Ice Veil Archer counts as targeting an enemy, even though it's like a instant resolve thing, then Ravenous Butcher should also count as targeting an enemy or targeting an ally, even though it's an instant resolve thing, right? Interesting. So you can run this. You could literally put them in. You could put them together. You could run Akshan and Viego together. And it would make sense. I tried Tarek with Shadow Isles and Go Hard, so I know it works. Okay. The strike ones should target at the very least. I thought Butcher didn't. Okay, well, I don't know. I guess we don't actually know. That's never mattered before, right? Whether or not Ravenous Butcher counts as targeting an ally has never mattered before. Now it matters, right? If that works, you could literally run Akshan in Shadow Isles and it would make a lot of sense. It would make a lot of sense. It also works with Jawfish, Akshan Lurkers. Akshan, easy, Akshan Lurkers, Jawfish. Sure, dude. Does that? I guess it must. I guess that must target the Jawfish skills, but they have to resolve, right? That's the thing about targeting in LOR. The spell has to resolve. Like if you play a single combat, like if you're running Akshan and Demacia, and you single combat him, or no, well not him or something. You single combat one of your own units and an enemy unit. If the enemy glimpses their unit, and the single combat poofs, you get nothing because you didn't target anything because the single combat didn't go off. It's gonna be the same with that's a problem that could happen with Glimpse Beyond as well. Obviously with all these like burst speed combat tricks, that's not gonna be an issue. But with stuff like Glimpse Beyond, Ancient Hourglass, fast speed self-target, that actually can be denied the way people deny Ezreal. I have a question. All right, people keep saying that the Absolver is nuts. And the more you guys talk about it, the more I understand that this card probably is nuts. If I play this card... Okay, I just answered my own question. I was gonna say, if I play this card on Lee Sin, and Lee Sin is 7 out of 8. Pop quiz. If I play this on Lee Sin, and Lee Sin's 7 out of 8, he levels up when this is cast. Do you get the Absolver's return? Pop quiz for everybody. Van Booper says yes. Night Stars says yes. Johanu says no. The answer is no. He levels before resolution? Let me think. No. The answer is no. The answer is no. The entire spell happens, and then Lee Sin checks whether the spell happens. Then Lee Sin levels up, right? So the Absolver would finish and say that Lee Sin is and say that you have no leveled champions and finish resolving, and then Lee Sin would be like, oh, you cast a spell, level up. So it doesn't work. Yeah. So that doesn't work. So my point here is that the Absolver must be cast after Lee Sin is fully leveled. You can't do a little. You can't trick it. You can't do a little trick. You can't do a little tricksy trick. Same with Akshan, right? Because Akshan could have a similar result, right? The Warlord's Palace, you can't use the Absolver to get Warlord's Palace down to 0 and then get the Absolver's return afterwards. You actually have to actually cast the spell after something is leveled. I can't wait to see people punt that day 1. Yeah, you're gonna see someone try that probably. You're gonna see someone try that and be like, do I get it? And then they're not gonna get it and they're gonna be sad. I honestly think that the Absolver alone might push Sivir / Katarina into playability. Katarina? Oh, because she levels. Oh, right. I was like, what does the Absolver have to do with Katarina? Sure. She levels up very quickly. That's true. You can tell when it will be enabled if it's yellow. That's true. You can tell when it'll be enabled when it's yellow. And it should only ever be yellow or orange or whatever if a champion has already been leveled. All right. We've been talking about these cards for almost 50 minutes. So, you know the worst part? You know the worst part of all this? They only revealed 2 main deckable cards. There's only 2 main deckable cards here. It's just Akshan and his champion spell. Oh, and the Absolver. Okay, 3 main deckable cards. Akshan, Grappling Hook, and the Absolver. Those are the 3 cards we got today. We had to talk about them for an hour because Akshan is complicated. Jesus. God. All right, but they're cool. These are some cool cards. I definitely enjoyed this. Akshan looks awesome. Akshan? I think I'm saying his name wrong. Is it Akshan? Akshan. I'm gonna call him Akshan. Akshan looks awesome. He looks really cool. He looks like he can be in like a lot of different decks. There's a lot of flexibility with building him. Looks great. Can't wait. Cannot wait.